Alright, I'm Mark Will, and in this video I'll be covering the Caravan system in Ashes of Creation. First of all, caravans are intended to be the main driver of economic development for nodes. Their purpose is to transport materials and products from one market to another, as well as between freeholds, mainly for artisans, but I'm sure there will be other purposes as well. Caravans can switch between land and sea, so they'll change shape and will be a short vulnerability point while they're making that transition. Caravans will also be able to have an open world PvP environment and be a primary source for content. So when caravans are traveling from their originating point to their destination, it'll be a source of PvP content in the game on a daily basis. There are many types of caravans, including mayoral, personal, and quest-driven, and possibly others. And then some general facts. Player caravans will have a racial appearance as default, but can equip skins. My little Aussie over here, he's definitely he's being a little glutton for attention. Caravans have varying sizes and capacities, along with customizable stats, including defensive points, speed, and number of hired NPC guards. The certificates to create a caravan are purchased from NPCs and nodes, as well as various points of interest in Vera. Economic nodes sell the certificates that can upgrade caravans beginning at the city stage. So even if, say, your home node is a military, scientific, or divine, you're going to want to know where the economic nodes are that are of a city stage or higher level in your kind of zone of influence or nearby where you are. That way you can travel to those if you have need of getting a caravan certificate to create one. And I imagine that's going to be the case with all different aspects of the game, guys. Each node type is going to have their own characteristics that they sell and provide. So you're not going to be able to just be a one type. We're going to need a diverse kind of mix of different node types and points of interest to develop in all the different segments of the game. So it's just pretty amazing. Artisans will produce the components needed to create a caravan. I believe it's going to be primarily, if I had to guess, the carpenter, but it could be other ones as well, especially for the axles, which are more of a metal product, but we'll see. The stats of each component will be according to the skill of each artisan who produces them. So you're going to want to find out who is the most competent in your guild or your local node, and try to get as much of the components from them, so that way you have a sturdy and good stats for your caravan to see it safely from point A to point B. Mounts bred through the animal husbandry profession can be applied as certificates toward the construction of caravans. So you can choose a mount and then apply them to the caravan, and they'll basically become the steed for your caravan setup. When a node is under siege, basically another foreign node has declared either at war or is trying to attack and sack your city, caravans will be disabled for the duration. They don't want you to hoard products and then move them out as soon as your node is at war or is under attack. They basically freeze players' abilities to transport raw goods and materials out of their warehouse and banks, as far as I know. I don't know if you can make a withdrawal and run it out on horseback or mule, possibly, but they're not going to allow you to do large transfers with caravans. Roads will upgrade as nodes advances. So there's going to be road systems in the game, guys, and the different roads will dictate speed and type of caravan required to perform on that roadway. So either it's an off-road or an on-road one. I'm very curious about the off-road. I won't go into more detail because we don't have a lot, but hopefully they're not buggy and they can actually traverse through trees and bramble and such. And yeah, I think that's going to be a challenge. If I had to guess, I think it would be much easier just to from a coding perspective on the dev team, just to have them go on the roadways. But there are stealth advantages to go where people aren't expecting you. That way you can again get to your destination safely. So more on that to come, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that turns out. Mayoral caravans. Mayors can establish trade routes with nearby nodes. That's their primary function, folks. There's some more details, but I'm just going to summarize these ones. Quest-driven caravans are used for trade routes between nodes and are system or AI driven caravans. So the player is not in control of the caravan. The player is going to act as a guard. These caravans' stats and capabilities improve as their originating node advances in level. So when it becomes Metropolis compared to a level 3 node, it's going to be a stronger, sturdier, more capable caravan. All right, personal caravans are initiated by players and drive the caravan themselves. So the players are going to have control of the caravan and be able to choose the route. So I imagine more for off-road, and also for the artisans and folks that want to move goods from their freehold to another destination. That's going to be more of the purpose for a personal caravan. There will also be used for quests, artisans, and the like. All right, and now for the fun stuff. So Caravan PvP. Caravans create a PvP zone that flags all attackers or defenders as combatants, i.e. purple, and death penalties in these areas do not apply. So there will not be a corrupt system in play when caravans are either being attacked or defended by players in the game. Players that approach caravan can opt in as an attacker, a defender, or ignore the caravan and go on about their day. Players will be able to see the type of cargo being transported. There'll be like a visual cue. It'll show lumber or hay or different kind of products in the transport compartment, and that'll basically tip you off as to what type of cargo you're trying to loot or defend. PvP seasons provide rewards to players who participate in caravan attack and defense, as well as other PvP content such as sieges, node wars, guild wars, and the like, possibly arena as well. And caravans are one segment of that. So if you participate in PvP, you're going after those special rewards. They include the following: gear enhancements, achievement ranks with leaderboards that will be seen globally, and special titles that unlock the use of abilities during events like castle and node sieges. There will be quests and progression lines among groups of NPCs that encourage players to participate in caravan combat. All right, so what happens when there's a successful attack on a caravan? When a caravan is destroyed, it becomes wreckage and will drop a portion of the goods it was transporting. The percentage currently is to be determined, and I think they're going to be doing testing on this, and we'll probably land on a figure before launch, well before then. But right now, it's not determined, and so it's really hard to speculate on the profitability and the ROI of sending caravans until we know more specifics. The remainder of the caravan's goods are sunk per the wiki when the caravan is destroyed. But just to note, a disclaimer, I've also heard mentioned that the remaining goods would be returned to the originating nodes. So this may be pending testing to determine how they want it to play out. And I don't have a source for that, so take that with a grain of salt. Usually I try to source all my information from the wiki. I believe I heard that from a Ashes video, but I couldn't find where the source came from, and I apologize, but I'll try to track that down, and if I do, I'll link it in the video. And if anyone knows the exact answer on that right now, I know it's all subject to testing and change, because it's definitely pre-alpha, and most of the stuff is not pinned down. It's just more of a general outline, an overview as to how we think it's going to play out. But if someone definitely has an answer as to what happens with the remaining percentage of goods that are being transported, please post in the comments. I'd love to share that. All right. My personal thought is it would be harsh to have it be a complete all or nothing transport mission. So if you're transporting a lot of goods, your caravan is destroyed by an attacking force. Even if the attacking force only got 30, 40, 50% of the items, whether they get 100% of it or else they got only say half and the other half is destroyed, it wouldn't matter to the shipper or the transporter, because you don't get any of it for the most part. And here's the caveat: anyone can loot wreckage. So when I hear anyone, I think even the defending force. So it may be a strategic value if the defending force is losing to back off, allow the caravan to be destroyed, and then jump in and rat as much as you can, and then head back to town to safety as soon as you can. That might be a strategy. We'll have to see, but anyone can loot wreckage. Caravan components may also drop when a caravan is destroyed, and that includes heavy goods that drop in the form of certificates and are redeemable currently per the wiki at the original node or region. Again, subject to testing. We're in pre-alpha. I'm curious how this would work, because if the mayor of the town that you robbed a caravan from says, okay, Robin Hood from Sherwood Forest, you are now an enemy of the state. You can't enter my city. How would they turn in their certificates for the heavy goods? They might have to wait until a new mayor comes into play or into power, and then maybe they can revoke or expunge the previous kind of blacklisted names. More on that to come, I imagine, but that's just kind of the finer details as to how this would work out. But again, it's going to be a very active Caravan PvP system, guys, and there's going to be a lot on the line for both the attackers and the defenders. And I'm going to get to some of the TBD, to be determined, bullet points that I had. I'm curious what you guys think. What gaps did I not cover? What are you curious about? What do you see as the pros and cons of this system? I definitely see this as going to be a daily gameplay and a very active system to encourage combat. But I have some questions. The first one, if killed during a caravan assault or defense, can a player travel back to the same caravan along his journey and rejoin the fight? Or can you only join once? So i.e., if you die, do you spawn somewhere and then, like say, a graveyard or wherever, can you run back and rejoin? And is it like a continuous battle until the caravan gets to its end destination or is destroyed? Or can you only join once and then it's just, that's it? Also, can multiple attacks be launched? So if all the attackers are defeated, are they defending the whole way? My assumption from watching the videos is it's kind of an ongoing fight, and until you get to the end destination, you're you're consistently defending your caravan, and that's really cool. So it's not just a static one-time fight. You're defending off the hordes the whole way through to its destination. So I imagine you can rejoin, especially because it doesn't state you can't, but I don't know. My other question is, will there be player count limits for the attacking or defending forces? There was no mention of that in the wiki. Will the ROI, or return on investment, of an average player's time for attacking and robbing caravans drastically outpace gathering and other means of earning wealth in the game? I used to play a game 15 years ago, it feels like, called Puzzle Pirates, and they introduced poker. I used to play amateur poker way back when. I'm not going to get too much into that, but I used to be pretty good. And I would sit down there and I could make so much more money playing poker with other players than I could doing any other form of the game, which was mainly pirating in this kind of like cartoonish game. And the best poker players started just doing that nonstop, and they gave up sailing their ships around and sacking cities and doing navigation and those kind of things for the big events because poker was so lucrative. So one of my fears, besides the tavern games in this, is if robbing is so successful, will players not do anything else? And right now it looks like it's very lucrative, and they don't have a lot of skin in the game from an attacking player base. So if there's nothing really on the line for you, you can just keep attacking, and it is highly lucrative compared to other things you can do in the game to earn money. Why would you gather or do raids, etc., other than just for the fun of it, if you're making so much money? And that was one of my problems with Puzzle Pirates back in the day, is that I'm pretty good at poker, at least I used to be. It's been a while. But I was making so much pieces of 8, they call it Poe back in that game, that I felt like I had to be playing poker at all times, because that was how I was making a lot of money. But I wasn't really playing that game to play poker. I was playing that game for the other things, and then you kind of lose sight of that, and you realize, hey, I'm not really enjoying this game anymore because I just have to do this one function because it's so much more lucrative than anything else you can do in the game. So I hope they somewhat find a balance with that, where it's really fun to have PvP content, but if it's by far and away the most lucrative and best ROI for your time, pirating is going to be very, very heavily common in the game, and that's going to be one of the balance points. Isn't that it's good or bad? You know, you can make justifications as to the morality and the lower as to the social fabric, and that's what I'm going to get into on my last point, guys. So Asset Creation prides itself on risk and reward. The attackers the risk for attackers seems to hinge on how tolerant and socially organized the caravan owning players are. So the folks that are shipping out the caravans and originating the caravans to go to a destination. And there's the risks that I can come up with are all indirect, and they're all social fabric type of ones. So The players that are attacking caravans consistently can be made enemies of the state by mayors. They can be added to Discord or other kind of chat software programs. Kill on sight lists by guilds. Retribution by having your guild's caravans targeted because you're harassing other players' guilds, so now they're going to hit you back. And the last one I came up with is potentially if, say, Robin Hood of Sherwood Forest Guild is attacking caravans nonstop all around the zone of influence of where they're at, maybe other nodes just go to war with their home node, Sherwood Forest, and burn it to the ground. So I don't think those are bad risks. They're obviously very significant ones, more so than just attacking a caravan. But I don't see anything directly because attacking the caravan is sanctioned content for the game. So it's going to be interesting to see, and it's going to be one of the funner aspects to see the politics of it as to, do nodes allow their caravans to be sacked? Are the mayors in cahoots with the pirates or the robbers? So is the mayor a friend of Robin Hood and saying, hey, we have a caravan going out in 30 minutes. I'm in their Discord chat. Be on the northwest exit of town, about, a hill away, and you'll see it coming over the hillside, and you can take it down. And then, let me know tomorrow and we can do this again. That kind of thing. So it's going to be interesting to see if the mayors will allow it and get some kind of kickbacks, if they'll completely say, iron fist, I'm going to blacklist anyone that robs my caravans, put out some kind of Discord proclamations and ones in like the Ashley Creation main channels. Anyone found robbing or attacking caravans from my node, you will have to pay the iron price, so to speak, from Game of Thrones. There's going to be a lot of content that revolves around these social dynamics and what is like permitted culturally from these nodes. Like, are you a pushover node, or are you going to burn somebody's node to the ground for messing with you? And yeah, that's going to be a really fun dynamic of the game. But just something, some thoughts I generally have for this guy, guys. And then for the rest of the video here, guys, I'm going to show you a rundown of the favorite skins for caravans that I have, and I'll rank them from, I think there's about 15 or 16 skins, and I'll put them in the rank order, reverse, and go down to 1. Let me know your thoughts. Do you guys agree with my rankings? Do you guys have any comments and thoughts on the caravan system? Do you think it's awesome? Do you think it needs work? What are you worried about, or what are you hyped about? I'm more optimistic than worried, but the only thing I would say is it is very involved. So the caravan system in general seems to be from creating one, gathering materials, finding artisans to produce it, the steeds hooking up with the caravan itself, doing quests. It is a very involved system in the game, and players are going to be participating in the caravans. It's going to be an integral life force driving a lot of content, both direct and indirect, within the game. So I think it's going to be an awesome thing to play out. I've never done anything like this in games before, other than like in Albion. You kind of would shuttle material out to hideouts and try to run it back in groups. That way there's more safety in numbers. That was kind of more informal. You weren't really protecting a caravan, you were just running in a group. But yeah, I think it has a lot of positives. Steven's put a lot of thought into it, and listening to him speak about it. Guys, we are very lucky to have a owner, creator, producer of a game that's putting this much thought into producing fun modes of content that are original, in depth. There's a lot of layers to it. So you can just do the artisan crafting. Hey, I'm going to help you do that economic portion. You can be the military side. So that kind of engages the community of players on all sides, from like an economic standpoint, a crafting and gathering standpoint, and to the more militaristic PvP sides. And it gets all the juices flowing, and everyone's involved in making that happen. So it's like, I keep thinking about the iPencil. Like, if you guys are familiar with that, all the products and the people and the companies are involved with making a pencil. There's a lot of different ingredients in there, but by the time you actually are writing with one, you have no idea that there's that many people that are involved in putting that pencil in your hand. And it seems like Steven, I'm not trying to put words in his mouth, but He's definitely trying to make the world feel alive and integrate with all of us, and it's not just going to cater. Like, I hear a lot of people worried that this game's only going to cater to PvP type players, and no one else should play the game. That's just blatantly not true. Like, there's 8 or 10 different Caravan components just to produce a Caravan in this game that players that want to ship a Caravan and ship goods to market, more of an economic side, are going to have to commission from other players that may not be, or likely or not, PvP players as their primary kind of gameplay. So anyways, I'll end with that. Let me know your thoughts. I hope you guys have a great finish to your weekend. Take care.